Before I begin, one thing. Every case I describe is fully anonymized. Swiss attorney-client privilege applies without exception. Any resemblance to real people or real events is purely coincidental. A man sat across from me in my office in Zurich. Calm, successful, no debt on anything. He told me he had spent 40 years being careful, and now he simply wanted to protect what he had built. And as he spoke, I already knew something he did not. The wealth he was so sure was safe was, at that very moment, almost completely exposed. Not to the markets, not to a bad investment, to something he had never once thought about. That is what I want to talk about today. And by the end, you will know the 5 things that actually protect a fortune, and the one most people get wrong until it is too late. Let me tell you about him. I will call him the engineer because that is how his mind worked. Everything in order, everything measured. He had no debt. His money was conservative, never a gamble. He owned property. He had more than enough income for the rest of his life. By every number he could see, he was secure. When he came to me, he did not come worried. He came to tidy up. I just want to make sure, he said, that what I have is protected. So I asked him one question. Not how much, where? Where is it? And as he answered, the picture became clear. Everything he owned sat in one name, his name, in one country, under one legal system. The accounts, the property, the investments, all of it, lined up in a single row behind a single door. Here is what most people never see. There are 2 kinds of risk to a fortune. The first is the one everybody guards against, the fear of losing money, a market that falls, an investment that fails. The engineer had defended against that one his whole life, and he had won. The second kind is quieter. It is the risk that everything you own can be reached at a single point. One lawsuit you did not see coming, one divorce, one frozen account, one government that decides your assets are now its business. And when everything sits in one name, in one country, under one system, that single event does not take part of what you have. It takes all of it, at once. He had built something beautiful, but he had built it like a tower on one pillar, tall, impressive, and one crack away from the ground. He was not exposed because he took too much risk. He was exposed because he put everything in one place and called it safety. So, before I tell you what I told him, ask yourself 3 quiet questions. Is almost everything I own held in one name? Is it sitting in one country? Could one signature, one ruling, one bad day reach most of it at the same time? If the honest answer is yes, you are not protected. You are waiting for the one event that has not happened yet. Now, let me show you how you change that. I told the engineer the truth. A fortune is not protected by a better return. It is protected by walls. And a real fortress has more than one. There are 5. The first wall is separation. The asset should not be owned by you. It should be owned by a structure, and you stand behind it. So when a claim comes at you, a lawsuit, a creditor, an angry counterpart, it hits you, and not everything you have. The day his property stopped being his in the eyes of a court and started being held by something separate was the day it became hard to take. The second wall is distance. More than one country, more than one legal system. If everything answers to a single government and a single court, then a single decision in that one place can freeze it or claim it overnight. Spread the exposure across borders, and no one event reaches all of it. We did not move his life. We moved his risk. The third wall is the right vehicle. Here the words matter, so I will keep them simple. A trust or a foundation is not a place to hide money. It is a legal arrangement where your wealth is held for the benefit of your family, but is no longer sitting there in your name to be seized. Set up properly, in the right place, it is one of the oldest and strongest walls there is. Not a trick, a structure, that careful families have used for generations. The fourth wall is the one almost everyone gets wrong. Timing. You build the fortress while the skies are clear. The law in most countries will not let you move assets to escape a claim that already exists or is already coming. Protection set up after the trouble starts can be torn down. The engineer's real luck was not that he found me, it was that he came before anything had gone wrong. Wait for the lawsuit, the divorce, the demand letter, and it is too late. There is nothing any lawyer can do then. The fifth wall is discretion. What no one knows, no one targets. A fortune that is loud invites the claim and the unwanted attention. A fortune that is quiet and well built is simply not worth the fight. This is not about secrecy. It is about not being the easiest target in the room. Separation, distance, the right vehicle, timing, discretion. No single wall is enough on its own. Together, they are a fortress. The engineer was a careful man, so a promise would not have calmed him. What calmed him was history. These walls are not new, and they are not clever tricks. They have protected families through wars, through crises, through governments that came and went. When he understood he was standing on something that had already held for decades, his shoulders came down. For the first time, he was not just careful. He was protected. And a man who is truly protected sleeps differently. So, here is the lesson. The real risk to your wealth is almost never the one you are watching. It is the one you believe is already handled. You do not protect a fortune by guarding it more closely in one place. You protect it with walls, separation, distance, the right structure, timing, and discretion, built before you need them. The careful man who keeps everything in one name, in one country, feeling safe, is not safe. He has simply not met his one bad day yet. Which walls your fortune needs, which country, which structure, in what order, depends entirely on your life, your family, and where your wealth sits today. That is the part I cannot put in a video, and it is the conversation worth having, quietly and in confidence, before something forces the question for you. Your assets deserve more than hope. They deserve a fortress.